accuse me or potentially being radicalized by fascism because I believe.
Oh my
So
God!
verbatimly you said
Are you a student?
my agenda. Yeah, I'm a college student. Not
Really,
here.
but you don't seem to be very good at thinking or learning.
There we go. Typical personal attacks from liberals. Apparently, this man is a professor and he cannot have a civil conversation because the student is not a liberal.
Therefore, transgender ideology is collapses into
Biological determinism. Biological dogmatism gets divorces different things. You'll end up in bed. Hold on. You'll end up in bed, a whole bunch of fascists that say that black people have got low intelligence. That's where you wake up.
Sticking to biology is somehow going to lead to black people have less intelligence.
Yeah, for some reason they hate biology. And it's interesting that they are the only people who say stuff like that. But when you stick up to biology, somehow you end up with a conclusion that black people have low IQ. And that's the reason we cannot trust biology. Well, who's making that claim? I'm for sure he's not making that claim. Somehow this professor felt the need to bring it up just to evade the questions. It's a typical liberal tactic. Call everything racist to avoid the substantive conversation.
So let's recap.
In what way? If I say you need to be careful about getting to bed with fascists.
Yeah, you've said.
Have I accused you of being a fascist?
So you've essentially said that my beliefs in gender identity is just going to lead into a pipeline of fascism.
I haven't said that.
Well, this is what you just said.
You'll end up in bed, a whole bunch of fascists.
He used the slippery slope fallacy to avoid this topic. He don't want to acknowledge that there are biological differences between genders. So he just bring up race and fascism. Just because he cannot debate on gender. He deep down know that there is no logical defense of gender ideology because it's a nonsensical concept that is not grounded in truth but solely based on feelings.
What it means, you said that your ideas can potentially
take that assumption.
embed you.
Fine.
Okay, so it was actually debate was said on the
Rush communism.
Yeah.
Do you support communism?
Communism is on the rise in Britain. You are kidding, aren't you?
So
Have you seen what reformer ends?
okay.
So wait, let me get this right. Let me get that right. Let me get.
What? So a party that has a Muslim chairman is racist?
You think communism
So
is
let me get this right.
You really do
Let
need
me
to
get this
read
right.
some
Let
books
me
and
get
try
let me get this right.
Read liberal propaganda. Well, so many conservatives read that to understand the worldview of liberals. So many people on the right look at Communist Manifesto. The left doesn't do that. But you see, the problem is if we end up with the conclusion that left-wing propaganda is nonsense, we are the uneducated ones. They will shout loudly that the Bible is wrong, but they never read the Bible, let's be real honest. Most of these people don't have any idea. They just sit in their safe spaces and repeat these left-wing talking points. They cannot debate. You see, this professor is a boomer. He have a lot of life experience and still he cannot control his emotions. He's not making any point. He's just calling names.
Your response that communism is on the rise. In order to
It's not on the rise.
Okay, so in order to defeat that, you've just said that there's another political movement which you've considered extremist that's also on the rise. Do you understand that at the time of 1940s Germany, communism and fascism were equally on the rise?
Take me down that road.
Okay.
My family suffered more than you could ever possibly imagine.
By the same
because of
people that are
Holocaust,
currently in the
okay?
UK.
No, by the Nazis and the fascists. Okay?
Yeah, you understand
Do
the
not
fascism-
give me any history lesson.
So again, fallacious argumentation. Just because your family suffered from something does not negate the fact that people can have different opinions than you. Just because your family suffered does not give you the privilege to shut everyone down. And the funny thing is, he doesn't even know what fascism is. You see, the student is not advocating for fascism. He's just saying communism is bad. And that somehow make him a fascist. It's just hilarious. Just because he's against communism does not make him a fascist.
Do you understand that fascism is just an off-branch of communism, right?
No, it isn't.
It's
young
communism.
person.
It's
Do
just...
some reading and learn.
So what was history?
Yeah, read the history, but not the history. They want us to read the history that they make up to promote their left-wing propaganda. And the student was right to point out that communism and fascism are not opposite of each other. They are very similar. You see, fascism is not something you just made up because the liberal narrative is fascism is just right wing. But it's not. Fascism is literally nationalizing the corporate body. Very similar to communism. The corporations, they can function privately, but they have to serve the state's interest. That's why in fascism you end up with state controlled media, state controlled healthcare, state controlled propaganda, state controlled education, all that. You just can't say it's a far right ideology. When you say right wingers are capitalist, then the debate is over. Because if right wingers are capitalist, then the far right wingers are more capitalist. People on the far right will say, F the government. They will not say, let's have state controlled everything. It's just nonsense, buddy. You know it.
Hitler both part of the Communist Party.
If you could simply read Mussolini's manifesto,
Goodness
if
sake!
you read Mosely's manifesto, if you read
Oh
Hitler's
my
manifesto,
God,
and if
Lee,
you read,
Get smart!
yeah, I have.
They are not the same
If you've
thing.
read,
They really are not.
okay.
Go and read a history.
Mussolini-
Go and get Lawrence Rees.
Mussolini
Get Lawrence
got his
Rees.
idea of fascism offset communism. Fascism is simply the privatization
Please
of
try
controlling.
and be good students and learn something. Read some books.
Well,
Don't
How am I
be
supposed to?
foolish.
How am I supposed to learn of faculty
Don't
members
be
and just shout
foolish.
at me?
I'm not shouting at you.
Yeah, you are. You've been
You've got to
interrupting.
work.
My invitation to you is that we have a timed discussion on substance. So far, you've acted like a drama student. You haven't been able to respond to anything I said.
I'm
So,
sorry. I'm just too stupid.
Thank you for admitting that.
well, no,
I'm
you're just socially immature. I mean, bye.
This is what fascists do. When someone challenges their idea, they just walk away and call names. And in their safe spaces, they plan to do the stuff that they did to Charlie Kirk.
I mean, I take it that like fascism is just going to be an offset of communism, just appearing in the private state. Like Hitler, Mustache Man, took control of the entire public state and privatized it and controlled it within his party. That is similarly seen within the structure of the bourgeoisie or the communists. So my real point to him was that gender identity, or the terms of transgenderism, is just going to collapse in some sort of sexism. If you take it, it's sexist to say that all women like the color pink, and then you say, I am a woman because I like the color pink. Therefore, you're saying essentially the same thing. You're stereotyping what it means to be a woman. His response was just over shouting.
Yeah, because of woke ideology, they have to affirm the same things that they were fighting against for like a century. Isn't it hilarious?
I don't understand how a 16-year-old has to tell a faculty member that in order to learn something, you must have two people engaging in a dialogue on substance.
But the thing is, they cannot have a substantive conversation because they know their worldview is flawed. It's all based on feelings, not facts. This is what happened when you believe that Hitler is the architect of fascism, not Giovanni Gentile. I don't think most of the people who use fascism as a label know who the hell is Giovanni Gentile. They only care about history if it supports their narrative. And if history is against their narrative, they just call it misinformation. What a great way to obfuscate. And this type of so-called educators are indoctrinating the next generation. It's just scary.